Good evening, future techies. My name is Tony Mungia, and I'm the Director of Recruitment, Retention, and Diversity for the Purdue Polytechnic. I want to welcome you to our broadcast, especially for women in technology. Our college is a little over 20% women, and we thought it would be pertinent to discuss some of our valuable resources, organizations, and success strategies for our female students. I am also joined by a few panelists who will introduce themselves in a minute. But first, just a couple of logistics for the broadcast. We will cover a variety of topics about what it's like being a woman in technology here at Purdue. But we would love to hear from you and answer your questions. You can submit questions through the chat function on YouTube. Log in with your Google account, or you can create one to submit questions. Our students, Lindsay, Aaron, and Ashley, will be responding to your questions on the chat room. But we'll also be pulling some of these questions out for our panelists to respond as well. You can also send an email to us to respond to a question later on, and that email address is techrecruit@purdue.edu. We will do our very best to answer every question either in the chat room or during our panel discussion. But for any email questions that we don't get to tonight, please email us and we'll respond to you as soon as we can. So before we get on with our discussion tonight, I'd like to ask each of our panelists to introduce themselves and tell us their major and where they're from. So good evening, Aaliyah. How are you? Let's start with you first.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Aaliyah. I'm a junior. I'm going to be a senior in the Polytech this fall, and I majored in automation and systems integration engineering technology. And I'm also getting a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation. And I'm from Plainfield, Illinois.
Okay, Milan, you want to go?
Hi, guys. My name's Milan Patterson. I just graduated this semester in building information modeling with a minor in communication, and I'm from Indianapolis.
Mia, will you go next? I can't hear you, Mia.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm from Westfield, Indiana, and I'm majoring in cybersecurity and network engineering technology.
Okay, Alex, will you go next?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be a junior next semester, and I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a double major in professional flight technology and cybersecurity.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies. Well, we also especially glad to have Emily Stoy with us tonight. She's a 2019 graduate from the Purdue Polytechnic. And Emily, please introduce yourself and share what your major was and where you're currently working.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emily. I graduated in 2019 with a double major in organizational leadership. My other major was supply chain management. I am now in a rotational program working for Meyer. My first rotation is about to finish up, and I have been an operations supervisor at our general merchandise distribution facility in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay, thank you, ladies. So let's get started. The very first question that I have is, why did you choose the Polytechnic and your major?
I'll start. Go for it, Milan.
Okay. I chose Polytech. I didn't CODO into Polytech until my sophomore year, so I started in biochemistry. So I spent the first 2 years pretty much taking like inventories and studying all of the majors at Purdue. But ultimately, I knew I wanted to end up in something that was hands-on. Construction caught my eye for a minute. So did aviation engineering technology. But ultimately, I felt like building information modeling fit me best because it was hands-on, but also I got to find the computer sometimes.
Okay, Aaliyah, you want to go next?
Cool. Yeah. I chose the Polytech because I was really interested in engineering technology. I wasn't really entirely sure what, but I knew I wanted like that hands-on aspect. So my freshman year, I started off in mechanical engineering technology, but then I switched at the end of freshman year to automation and systems integration, just because I was always like interested in the manufacturing field and that aspect a little bit more. So yeah.
Okay. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, so I chose Polytechnic because it has one of the best flight programs in the entire country. So that's where I started my freshman year with flight training. And then I realized I really do love technology and computers as well. So I recently picked up that cybersecurity major, which was amazing because Purdue's one of the few universities that has cybersecurity as its own standalone major. So it's been really great so far.
Wonderful. Okay. Um, Mia.
I chose the Polytechnic. When I was in high school, I got to do a cybersecurity summer camp, and having that experience as a high schooler really like led my decision to come to the Polytechnic. I knew I wanted to do cybersecurity, and like she said, Purdue is one of the few schools that has cybersecurity as a standalone major, so that's why I chose the Polytechnic.
Okay. Wonderful. How about you, Emily?
So I chose the Polytechnic because I knew I wanted to work with people when I graduated, and the Polytechnic could offer that to me as well as working with my hands. I was really excited to learn in a lab setting, and that's exactly what the Polytechnic could offer to me.
Wonderful. Thank you. So what helped you guys, all of you, get acclimated to Purdue and the Polytechnic, especially as a young woman? We can.
I think for me, one big thing that helped was I went to academic boot camp leading into my freshman year, which is kind of like a 5 week pre-college program, I guess, for incoming freshmen. And that was probably one of the most beneficial things that I've done. Just being able to live on campus and take some classes and meet new people, even the people that like I've met during boot camp, like I still talk to now all the time. And so I think that helped me get really acclimated to college, probably more than really anything else. And also just like trying to find little communities and like clubs and learning communities and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to like find wherever I fit in.
Okay.
I would say for me, freshman year, I kind of felt lost because I didn't technically have a major. So I kind of just felt like I was wasting my time because I was undecided. But honestly, I just put myself out there and got out of my comfort zone a lot. Like a lot of the stuff I did, I joined a dance team. I found a lot of different like opportunities to help me figure out my major. And that kind of helped me grow as a person too. Um, Basically being more comfortable being myself. And then when I actually got into the college, my first professor, Clark Corey, hands down helped me the most. Hands down, like he was always willing to help after hours, during hours, like whatever we needed, he was there.
Clark's a nice guy. I know him. Very nice guy. But we have great professors. Anyone else?
I'll go ahead and go. I got acclimated to campus through Boiler Gold Rush. It's where you get to move into your dorm a little bit earlier than the rest of campus, and they take you around all day long for like 3 to 5 days, just getting to know the campus, getting to know where your classes are. Then also, like someone else mentioned before, just getting involved with all of the different clubs that the Polytechnic has to offer, but also the fun ones. So getting involved and like I was on a volleyball team. And so I shared that interest with people and I got to meet others that were outside of my major and outside of my college. So just being open to new things.
How about you, Alex and Mia?
Yeah, I know for me, pretty much like everyone said, clubs were a big thing. Especially being in aviation, it's a pretty small program, very tight knit. So the best way that I got acclimated was joining clubs like Women in Aviation, and even the little branch of Women in Technology called Witty Sisters, where I got an upperclassman mentor also in the aviation program, and she introduced me to all of her friends, and it was really great, just helping me feel like I belonged, and it made everything a lot easier.
Oh, wonderful. We'll talk a little bit more about Witty Sisters. Okay. Mia, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, I would say WIT was a huge help for me getting used to the Polytechnic. Even though I wasn't in the learning community, like just going to all the club meetings and the activities that they did and volunteering with the girls, I got to know like quite a few of them really well. Just like hanging out at the dorms there and like doing homework together really helped acclimate me.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So, what resources have you taken advantage of in the Polytechnic right now?
For me, it was definitely my professors. Is a fairly new major, so it wasn't that many of us. So we kind of had each other. So when I codoed sophomore year, I was in class with the same people that I'm graduating with this semester. So I used those people as well as I codoed late. So um, some people that I was in class with had taken the classes before I did, but we also still kind of ended up in some of the same classes, so we kind of helped each other out in that way.
Okay, cool. Anyone else?
I think some things that helped, like my freshman year and also this semester, was the best tutoring service. Um, like being able to get someone who had already taken the class and like passed the class to help me with classes that I had been struggling with, just to be able to like ask my questions and try and get a better understanding of what was going on. That was definitely something that helped a lot. And I don't know if clubs count as a resource, but I feel like clubs really helped me feel like a lot more um, comfortable on campus and like help me get whatever support that I needed.
Wonderful. So, we have a couple of questions from the chat. Uh, this is from Axel. Is the workload for those double majoring? And I'm a, she says she's admitted to cybersecurity because she's thinking about networking engineering as well. So she wants to know a little bit how it has helped. How has WIT helped?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk a little about double majoring, especially WIT. It is very diverse in terms of the various like topics and types of discussions we have. So in that double major, you'll have people from both majors in WIT that you can talk to, especially since there's a good bit of overlap in those two majors themselves. WIT would be really helpful just for meeting people and also hearing speakers and getting networking opportunities within both of them through the same club.
Okay.
I'm double majoring in cybersecurity and network engineering technology. I think it's super doable. I came in with a couple AP credits, and those really helped me out a lot. But because they're so intertwined, some of the classes count for both majors. So it's pretty doable, I would say.
Okay. Wonderful. Aaliyah, I think you were part of the Tech 101 class in the WIT learning community, weren't you? Can you share your experiences with the WIT LC and the Tech 101? And if anyone else also was part of the class?
Yeah. So essentially, learning community, if you don't know, is where you all live on the same floor in a dorm. And it's people. So the women in technology one is for women in the Polytechnic. So it's all different majors and stuff across from the Polytech, and you live on the same floor, and you take this class called Tech 101. And honestly, it was a really good experience for me to one be able to get to meet other women in the Polytech. A lot of the people that I met on my floor, I still talk to now. Like my roommate from freshman year, Heather, she's the best. Like we still talk all the time. And so it's definitely a good way to get acclimated. One, in like meeting people in your major, outside of your major in the Polytech. And especially like with Tech 101, you learn a lot of lessons that just like help you throughout your time at Purdue and like honestly in life, of just like communication skills and how to get acclimated and networking and meeting women in the field. So it's a really good like opportunity just to be able to like really immerse yourself in the Polytech and get really comfortable with what you're going to be doing the next 4 years.
Wonderful. I think Mia, you were in the class as well. Maybe Emily? You have anything to add?
Yeah. I actually wasn't in the learning community because I lived in a cooperative house my first year. but I was still involved in the club, and I took the Tech 101 class. I actually like made really good friends in that class because you do a project together, so you get to like kind of hang out with them, and I'm still pretty good friends with two of those girls today. So
Thank you.
Yeah, like Mia, I did not live in the learning community, but I did take the Tech 101 class. And as a freshman in the first semester, it was really cool to be able to meet the guest speakers that we had. These were women that had their professional careers out in industry and were very successful. So to have them come into our class and talk about what they do and how they got there, they all graduated from the Polytechnic. That was just really reassuring that there is a spot for females out in industry. And to hear that as a freshman was very empowering for me.
Wonderful, thank you. This is the class that I teach, the Tech 101, so I'm just going to say I recommend it, just to put a plug in there for it. We have a couple of other questions from the audience. Was Purdue all of your first choices? And if not, what made it superior or more unique to go to?
For me, Purdue was my first choice. I was introduced to like engineering in middle school. So pretty much from seventh grade up until forever, I was introduced to engineering technology, and I knew like that's what I wanted to do. And Purdue was number one for that in the state of Indiana.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, same here. I applied to like 13 or 14 schools, but Purdue is my first choice. Like I already said, it has one of the best flight programs in the country, one of the best cybersecurity programs. And as soon as I visited for the first time and met some students and saw the campus, it just reaffirmed that this is where I belonged.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so besides the WIT programs and the LC, what other support groups do you have access to in order to acclimate with the new environment, especially in a male-oriented field as the Polytechnic is, especially as a minority as well, for those of you that are minorities. Well, actually, we all are as women.
For me, freshman year, I joined a dance team, and that helped me a lot. They were all upperclassmen, so they helped me learn campus and meet new people and basically get out of my room and go to campus events. And then my junior year, I joined a sorority, so I have sisters on campus to help me and keep me motivated and disciplined to do well, pretty much. And then I was in BIM club, which was mostly men, but I was the only woman on the e-board. So my goal was to recruit women for our organization.
Wonderful. Anyone else involved in other organizations? And
Yeah, so some things that helped me specifically my freshman year was I had a boiler mentor. So it was an upperclassman who was already a senior. And we met up every week and we'd go get lunch and stuff like that. And she helped me a lot with just getting comfortable with myself and getting comfortable on campus, and pushing me to like try new things. And so that was something that definitely helped a lot. And especially with meeting her with her every week. It was just like an accountability kind of thing. Like if I said I was going to go try a new thing and I didn't, she'd be like, okay, well, why didn't you? And so having that like automatic accountability partner was really, really great for me. And then my sophomore year, I joined National Society of Black Engineers. And that was a club that really helped me get acclimated to campus and like grow a lot professionally, with like going to conventions and meeting with companies and talking to professionals. That's something that helped me grow a lot. And those skills that I learned in that club are definitely skills that I use today.
wonderful. Okay. I think Mia and Alex, both of you talked a little bit about, or Witty Sisters, and you've talked about mentoring. Let's talk a little bit about mentoring programs and how, if you're involved in them, and why you're part of them.
yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So I did Witty Sisters as a freshman, so I got paired with my mentor Taylor, and she was great. We would have like these little dates where we would go get coffee or go get dinner, and we would just talk about, you know, how life was going, but also like she would help me prepare like my schedule for like what classes I wanted next semester, and like help me figure out like what I wanted to do in the future. So having her as like a mentor was really helpful. And now that I'm a sophomore, I'm a mentor as well. So I have a mentee now, and I get to like pass on that wisdom too. So it's just a great way like we support each other.
Wonderful, wonderful. And actually, I know that those are Witty Sisters and Boiler Mentors are all for the freshman students, but I think as upperclassmen, you can also receive a faculty mentor. Are any of you involved with that? No? Okay, that's just a program that our Polytechnic has. You'll get an email your sophomore year, and I'll ask you if you want to get a faculty mentor, and if you say yes, then we will help provide one for you in your department. And it's just another way to continue that mentoring process. I have another question from the chat, and they asked, did you ever feel like you were at a disadvantage as a woman in technology? What services were provided to face these problems? And let's see, Alex, can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I know for me, I actually went to an all-girls high school, so coming to Purdue and joining two very male-dominated majors was definitely a bit of a culture shock. But I don't know that I'd say I ever felt that I was at a disadvantage. We're a very equal opportunity environment, and all of my professors made that very clear from the get-go. So I can't say that I've really had that much of a problem with it, but I mean, of course, when you look at pictures of industry and you don't see that much representation, that's a little tough. But if anything, it's more motivating because it's like, wow, I'm working to change that and I'm being inspired to work to change that through my peers and professors.
Oh, wonderful. How about you, Milan or Aaliyah? I know that you're in also very male dominated. Actually, all of you are in male dominated industries or areas. Did you feel at all disadvantaged?
I don't know if I'd say like disadvantaged was the word, but there's definitely like some unique challenges, I guess, that come with it sometimes, with being classes. And it more comes with like communication styles sometimes that you don't really realize until you get into class of like how someone else might communicate differently from you and like group dynamics and things like that. Um, but I'd say like things that definitely help because sometimes, especially if you're not used to it, it does take you by surprise and you don't really know what to do sometimes. Um, but like some things that helped me was definitely like being in women in technology and just like seeing all the upperclassmen and like learning from them that, okay, yeah, this is a thing that happened to them too. This is how they dealt with it. This is who they talk to. And like that was something that helped keep me grounded and keep me like understanding like, okay, something might happen or I might not like how something went down, but I can do something about it. And it'll be okay. And it's not the end of the world. It's just one little isolated situation. But I wouldn't say that it like represents your entire experience there, that you'll always feel at it like disadvantaged or always feel challenged because of it. It's more just like some isolated situations that come up, but there's a lot of support that you can find either with your professors, other classmates. Miss Tony, like with your office, everyone in your office has like helped me immensely. Anytime I have a problem, I like run to Miss Tony. And they can always help me find some sort of solution for it. So
Yep, wonderful support, that's for sure. Anyone else want to share?
I think I just want to echo what Aaliyah said. The Polytechnic does an amazing job of preparing you to be out in industry. So now that I'm graduated, I think Women in Technology did a great job of preparing me to be in meetings where I am the only female, and I am comfortable with it. When I had my first freshman class and I was one of 3 out of like 50, I was not so comfortable, but having those environments and the professors that motivated you to speak up and to feel confident, now I'm confident out in industry because of my experiences in the Polytech. So I think Women in Technology does a great job of calling that out and making you feel comfortable in your own skin.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Another question is talking about industry. Are there any internship opportunities offered through involvement in the WIT Club?
Yeah, so I can touch on that a little bit. So during like a normal semester, we have speakers come from different companies, with that are sponsors or not, who come and they talk about their companies, who they are, and a lot of the times if they're hiring, they'll collect resumes. And another big thing that WIT does in the fall is a panel, like a career panel, where last semester we had 15 different companies represented. Yeah, close to 15 different companies represented, where they all come and they answer any questions you might have about the company, who they are, anything like that. And a lot of the times, especially in the fall, they're almost always collecting resumes, always willing to talk to you, network with you, connect with you on LinkedIn, give you any advice, anything you might need, to succeed or to get a job in that company. So it definitely helps in that regard.
Yes, for sure. Emily, you graduated from Purdue in 2019. Let's talk about when you were in high school. What were your interests back then, and how did they lead you to double majoring in organizational leadership and supply chain technology at Purdue?
Yeah, great question. So I come from a family of engineers, and so I knew I just had the hands-on experience that I was wanting. But then also my dad is a successful businessman, so I knew that I kind of wanted both. And so I found the Polytechnic, first started out in organizational leadership because I could work on the leadership skills that I already started developing in high school through volunteering, all of the clubs that I was in. But then it was my second semester on campus. I took one supply chain class and I was like, oh my gosh, this fits me so well. This is exactly how I have been doing my life for the past 18 years, working with the 5S methodology. So I went to my academic advisor. I said, how can I work this in? Because I love both and it just comes natural to me. So she helped me out. We mapped it out for 4 years. So I graduated in 4 years with 2 different degrees, then a few certifications on top of that. So I really leaned on my academic advisor. And she also could see my passion for both degrees. So she worked really hard with me to make it work.
You do have great advisors. So tell us about your work after graduation. What is your job, and how did your Purdue degree make you especially well prepared for it when you first started?
Yeah, so now I accepted a rotational program with Meyer. So I signed a 3-year contract, and each year I am working in a different part of the supply chain within their business, just so I can understand the company a little bit better. Then when I'm done with those 3 years, I will graduate and be a manager anywhere that I spent time over that rotation. So my first year, I am an operations supervisor at a distribution facility. And the Polytechnic really helped me by accepting change. So moving here and then becoming a head of 100 people, that was a big change for me. Then also with COVID-19, we still are essential workers and we are out working on the front lines. So that was another change as well. And the Polytechnic does a great job of embracing the change, not being scared and running away from it. And then my next rotation, I will be on the Meyer Continuous Quality Improvement team starting in June. So using a lot of the Lean Six Sigma methodology, and the Polytechnic has an amazing opportunity for you as an undergrad to achieve your Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification, which is exactly how I landed the job that I have now, because that is on my resume. Only 1% of the college students that graduate have this on their resume. So it's an amazing job, amazing thing that I didn't have to do anything extra. I just worked it into my plan of study for a semester, did well in the class, did well in my project, received that certification, and now I am looking forward to using this methodology on my next rotation.
Wonderful. Um, Aaliyah, we have a question from the audience. Can we still join and get these opportunities from WIT despite the current events?
Yeah, so like getting involved with WIT and stuff like that, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah. So oh, okay. So yeah, so I mean, we'll be like picking up everything in the fall with everything, with like actual events and like on-campus meetings and stuff like that. But we do have an Instagram. If you do want to follow our Instagram, that'll definitely keep you updated with how things are going, what we're going to be doing, and different ways you can get involved, like as things start to happen and clear up a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. As all of you know, we're not sure yet what classes will be like in the fall. We're hoping to be on campus as of right now. All the plans are for us to be on campus, but you just not sure exactly how it's going to look like and what we're going to do with different student organizations and different just clubs and just meetings and things like that. But we're hoping to be able to, if we have to do some virtually, but we'll also be able to do in person as well. So have you had to make any adjustments on how to interact in your classes, Aaliyah? And we'll start with you since you just, I'm looking at you now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a lot of change these last couple weeks with interacting with our professors and classmates and stuff like that. But it's definitely been, I'm really glad that it's happening like in this time that we have all this technology, just because it feels a lot more feasible. So like if I'm working with my friends to finish a project or take an exam or do homework or something like that, like we can use things like WebEx and Discord and all that kind of stuff to talk and like actually communicate with each other. And same with our classes. I had one class where we made a Discord server. So if you had any questions, you could just hop in the chat and like ask our TAs and ask our tutors, and they'll get to you whenever they need you. And our professors have been really like attentive, especially to like their emails and stuff like that. So replying and getting whatever questions you need answered. And I think especially leaning on like our peers and leaning on students is definitely something that normally we do a lot of, but has happened a lot more during this time.
Wonderful. Alex and Mia, can you talk a little bit about your adjustments of online learning after the spring break, after when you guys came back?
Yeah, so obviously aviation, we can't fly virtually, which has been definitely a bummer considering that a huge chunk of our time is spent in the air. However, in terms of FAA certifications, qualifications, all of that, most of our classes have been approved to be conducted online. So it's basically the same as in-person lecture. We'll just do WebEx or something else with the professors, and they've been, like she said, very attentive, very good at communicating. I think I know I speak for all of the flight students when I say we're making the best of it, but we're just ready to get back in the air.
Sure, I bet you are.
My professors have done such a good job of like making everything super clear. They send out lots of emails and like they make expectations. They'll be like, this is due then, this is due then. And like making everything virtual, like voicing over slides and like making sure we have access to all the resources we've needed. So like my professors have done such an amazing job.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Another question from the audience. This one's for Emily. Emily, when you prepared your schedule for the next 4 years with your academic advisor, was it always flexible for change before and after?
Yeah, so it was very adaptable and customizable based upon what I wanted to do. So there is a core set of classes for each degree that you do have to work off of and complete, but most of those are prereqs for each other. So those kind of have to go in line. But as far as the Lean Six Sigma class that I took, that was just, hey, I think I want to do this. When can we fit this in? She was like, we can fit it in next semester. So she does a really good job, or at least mine did, and most of the other ones do. If you want to do something, they will make it happen for you. So it was very flexible.
Wonderful, thank you. And I just want to say that all of you, all the students here have an academic advisor that is with them for the next 4 years or for 4 years. And so you will have an academic advisor that will help you and guide you. Like Emily was saying, she had double majors, and there's several students that have double majors. Some of them have minors or certifications. Your advisors are experts, and they are awesome. I want to say that we have the best advisors in the on campus, but I am a little bit biased. But they will work with you, and they will make sure that you, they know what classes you need to be taking so that you're on track, so that you can graduate. Like Emily said, she was able to do it in 4 years, but I know a lot of other students that have been able to do that as well, and it's due to the awesome advisors that we have. And we have another question here. It's from Alexa. Is Tech 101 the only class available for women in technology? What other classes can we take? Right now, yes, the Women in Technology class is the only class that we have specifically for women, and it's usually in the freshman year, but I've had sophomores and even juniors take the class as well. I talked to the Women in Management just this week, and she was talking about having another class that she has. And so that's something that I'm thinking about, but I have to talk to my supervisors and the deans to see if we can have maybe an upper class Women in Technology course as well. But that's something that I've been thinking about. But right now, the Tech 101 is the only class that we have. Next question from the audience as well is, how rigorous are the programs in the Polytechnic? And let's see, Milan, why don't you answer that, or start with you first, and then the rest of you can go from there.
I would say I struggled a lot when I codoed. I struggled a lot in all of the classes, pretty much except my major class. But my advisor was there to help me. The professors were there to help me. Other students were there. And then when I got acclimated and like learned how the classes worked and like what I was supposed to be doing, it went a lot smoother.
Okay. How about you, Mia, Aaliyah, and Alex?
Yeah, I would definitely say they're rigorous, but like I wouldn't have it any other way. I do spend a lot of time being in cybersecurity, like in the computer lab. My classes are pretty like lab intensive. You do have like time specifically for lab, but like I usually like working on homework and stuff. I'll spend extra time there, but I enjoy it. Like uh, I love cybersecurity, and I don't know, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wonderful. Alex and Aaliyah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Mia said, it's definitely worth it to study something that you love doing.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. So speaking of then rigor and struggles, have there ever been times when you've struggled with concepts or projects in your classes? And what's it been like getting help from a professor or from your friends, or just what's it been like getting the help that you need?
I definitely struggle a lot with a lot of different classes sometimes. There's just certain concepts that they're tricky. They're tricky, especially the first time through. And especially like I didn't do any project lead the way classes or anything like that. So coming to Purdue and doing the whole engineering technology thing wasn't my first time being immersed into engineering, but it was definitely the first time like really getting into some of these topics that I had never heard of. And so I think it's different for every class, but I think the one ongoing theme that I've noticed for me and that's helped me succeed is just leaning on other people. I really feel like the Polytechnic is very team oriented, and they say that, but it honestly, like, you feel it. The people who I've been in classes with freshman year, I'm still in classes with or still talk to, and we make all these group chats, even if it's with people you've never like had a conversation face to face. They'll still be so willing to help you with that homework or help you understand that quiz question or something like that. And like, yeah, professors are definitely there to help and all the tutoring services and stuff like that. But for me personally, I feel like I've learned best from being with other students because they didn't get it at one point either. And so they know how they got it and they were really willing to help me. And they've always been really willing to help me understand what's going on and how to understand and how to approach it in a way that makes sense to us.
Wonderful. That's so good to hear. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit. Let's talk about internships. Have you had internships? When, where, what company, maybe what job title? And how did you transition some of that experiences, knowledge that you've learned in your classes to your internships? And I know, Aaliyah, you have one. I think, Mia, you have an internship. So let's, Milan, I know you're graduated and you have a job offer. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Talk about your internships.
Sure, I'll start. So last summer was my first internship. I interned with Avery Dennison. They make like labels and stuff like that. And I was based in Cleveland, Ohio. I was an operations engineering intern. So I got to work on the floor with the operators and fix whatever problems they had on the line. And so I helped like I used a lot of my knowledge from like classwork to be able to implement it. So I took a PLC class during the semester, my sophomore year, and I used that summer to implement like a new alarm system so that if something was going wrong or if we are going too fast, like operators would know what to do. But obviously still working with like engineers and getting to work at all the different plants and do different research things, which was unexpected but cool, and trials and things like that. And then this summer, I will be in Columbus, Indiana. I'll be interning at Cummins. My job title has changed a little bit because of all of this, so I can't give you like my 100% certain one because I think it's gonna change a little bit. But I'll definitely be doing some engineering work for them and working with them down in Columbus.
Wonderful. Mia, I think you've had an internship, right?
Yeah. So I went to the career fair as a freshman, and I was able to land an internship with Dell RSA Security right here in West Lafayette. And being able to have like Dell on my resume as a freshman was just such a huge opportunity for me. I'm staying with them another year because COVID-19 and all of that. But I also had a friend who worked with me, and now she's working at GE already as a sophomore. So yeah, I would just say the Polytech Career Fair is amazing and really helped me get my internship.
Wonderful. How about you, Milan? You want to talk about your job?
So I had an internship this past summer with Holder Construction as a virtual design and construction engineer. It was my first internship through the construction management career fair, um, which is pretty intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's amazing. I loved it, and you get a lot of free stuff out of it too. But now that I've graduated, I have two job offers. I haven't accepted either one yet because of the COVID-19 stuff that's going on. But we're waiting for everything to open back up.
Wonderful, wonderful. There are lots of opportunities and job fairs for the students in the Polytechnic. So, I know that the computer and information technology has one, the construction management has a couple, the college has one. There's the round tables, there's lots of different types of job fairs available for our students to get internship. And lots of opportunities for them. We don't know what COVID will do for next year, but as most of the students that have internships, it seems like they're still, like Aaliyah, who's going to still have her internship this summer. We have a couple other questions from the audience. One is, for those of you that are out of state, how did you ever feel, or did you ever feel like an outcast, whether based on your geographical region or your background? And let's see, Alex, I know you're from out of state.
Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania, so East Coast to Midwest was definitely interesting. I definitely wouldn't say I felt like an outcast, but there are some cute little quirks to Indiana culture that I was not aware of prior to coming here. Just certain names for things, like I didn't realize how big cornhole was. But no, I definitely wouldn't say outcast. We're a pretty diverse university, so it's a pretty welcoming environment.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I know the very first time I played cornhole, I was like, what is this? But it's fun, a lot of fun. Okay, we have another question from the audience. And this is from Yuki, and she attended Do It. For any of you who know what Do It is, and Aliyah is shaking her head. She says, how does leadership and WIT work? Are there any positions you can run for in your freshman year? So
I'll take that one.
okay.
Yeah. Hi, Yuki. I remember you. So yeah, women in technology is really like open to anyone running for a position like at any like level. So like for me, I ran for treasurer my freshman year, and that was like after not even being at Purdue for like a whole semester. And so if you're honestly willing to like just try and put yourself out there, like it'll go well. Yeah. There's no like requirement for majority of the positions to be on the e-board. Some of them do, but like treasurer and secretary and stuff like that, like you can be a freshman and run, or a sophomore, junior, or whatever. Yeah, no, definitely recommend getting involved with WIT, but that's me. I think I'm biased.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if Aliyah mentioned.
Um,
Did you mention you're the WIT president currently?
I am the current WIT president. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so let's, talking about internships, let's move over then to research. Are any of you involved with research on campus? And I don't know who to direct that one to, because I'm not sure if any of you are involved in research.
Yeah, I've done a bit of independent research. I'm actually a member of the Honors College, and part of our graduation requirement is to do this honors research project. So I worked with one of my aviation professors this semester and started towards a independent research project just on aviation safety, specifically this HVACs framework. And he mentored me throughout the entire process because I didn't really have much experience with it, but I ended up presenting at the undergraduate research conference and getting quite a few awards from that. And now there's publishing opportunities. People are reaching out. So Purdue is a great research environment. And like I said, I had no research experience. So the professors are really great mentors and they really want to help you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I do know that if you are interested in research, that it is open even to our freshman students or to undergraduate students if they want to do that as well. Okay, this question is for Emily. Based on your first year in the professional world, how do you think your Purdue degree will continue to help you as your career progresses?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I reference my degree each day. I always think back to the examples that we learned in class to help me get through my professional career. One of those is how you interact with team members and getting to know their leadership style so you can interact and adapt to them a little bit better and have better communication. As far as the Purdue degree itself, we have alumni everywhere. So I was able to join an alumni group here in Lansing, of all people, that graduated from Purdue, which was amazing because those of you that don't know what Lansing is, East Lansing is Michigan State University. So a Big Ten rival. So it was nice to have some of my Boilermakers in the same town. And I'm looking forward, I'm moving to Grand Rapids, Michigan in June. So I will be joining another alumni group there. So the Boilermakers, we stick together even after post-graduation too. So that's pretty cool.
That's really good. Where you go in the world are Boilermakers.
Yeah.
um, Okay, this question, we've talked a little bit about women in technology. And so this question was more, let's talk about women in technology and why should students consider to join WIT. But let's talk about other student organizations as well. What other organizations are you involved with? And, what do you do in those? Do you have any leadership in those organizations? What should students join and things like that? And you could definitely talk about WIT as well. And let's see, Mia, why don't you get started with this question?
I'm also involved in Cyber Forensics Club, which is really fun for me because we get to practice some of like the cybersecurity skills that we don't always use in the classroom, like ethical hacking, and we do like capture the flag events. And they're just fun and I make friends, but also they're good resume boosters as well. Along with that, I'm involved in my cooperative house, which is very similar to a sorority, except for we do all of our own cooking and cleaning. So a little different, but it's also a good place where I have like a group of women that support me in the Polytech. So.
Alex, you want to talk a little bit about your organizations you're involved with and some of the activities you've done with them?
Yeah, totally. So aside from WIT and Witty Sisters, I'm also in Women in Cybersecurity, as well as the Women's Air Race team and Women in Aviation. Women in Aviation is probably the biggest one of those. It's been super beneficial for me in terms of networking. We host events that you might have heard of, such as Girls in Aviation Day, and we also have the Women in Aviation International Conference that was down in Florida this year, where people from across the globe come together for this conference. It's huge for networking, talking to alumni, building your resume, giving people your resume. So that's been a really, really beneficial club for me because I've gotten to meet a lot of other people higher up in the industry.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Let's see, Milan and Aaliyah.
So I was the president of my sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I was the outreach liaison for Boiler Tracks and Building Information Modeling Club. I was on Afro Royale Dance Troupe and Pink Panthers Dance Troupe. I was a mentor in the Emerging Leaders Program. I
Very involved.
think that's all of them. I also, yeah, they all helped me pretty much build within myself, and gain a lot of leadership skills and learning how to work and communicate with other people.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So aside from WIT, some of the other things I'm involved with, I mentioned a little bit earlier, National Society of Black Engineers. I'm the membership chair this year for them. And that organization has helped me a lot with getting more connected with other people, even outside of my major and outside of the college. And then I'm also part of the African Student Association, Minority Technology Association. Yeah, I'm a boiler mentor for the Emerging Leaders Program, and I work at the Black Cultural Center as a newsletter writer.
Wow, wonderful. Well, Purdue has over, I'm hearing this echo kind of thing. It has over 1,000 different student organizations. So pretty much there's something here for everyone. Anything you want to get involved with, you can. And if there isn't a club for you, find two other friends and find an advisor, and you can kind of create your own club. That's how wonderful this place is. I have another question from the chat. It says, I am a first generation Hispanic woman. Is there any services to help people like me? So any of you want to, those of you that, are underrepresented minorities, you want to talk about your experiences or our services? While you guys are
I would
thinking,
say,
oh, go ahead. Okay.
for me, I found communities with other people that look like me. Boiler Tracks was a big one. We recruit for underrepresented minority students. Um, and then finding professors and faculty that look like me. I went to the Black Cultural Center. There's also the Latino Cultural Center on campus where students usually work, do study, or just hang out.
Yeah, I definitely echo what Milan said of like finding people that look like me. That definitely helped me find some comfort in being on campus, and just like some familiarity. So like, yeah, with the cultural centers, that was a big thing for me, as well as different clubs that I joined and trying to be like more intentional of putting myself out there and trying to meet other people that look like you. And yeah, the Latino Cultural Center is really, really cool too. I hang out there a lot with my friend Krista. And like, especially at the LCC, it's like, it's in a house, so it's so cute. It's like in a house, so it's really like family like there's different rooms and everyone's always together and everyone's really friendly. Anytime I go, everyone's really nice to me. So yeah, definitely the cultural centers and finding people that look like you are definitely a big thing that help a lot.
Definitely, for sure. And Purdue does have 5 different cultural centers that you can be involved with. Anybody can be part of them or join or visit. And they have all sorts of different programming activities that they have throughout the year as well, special guests that come in. again, we don't know what this is going to be like in the fall, but there are lots of resources and opportunities. And there are also several different, sororities and for women of ethnic sororities as well that you can get involved with. So let's see. The next question that we talked about the student organizations and all of you. Did anyone else want to share any other student organizations that they're involved with? So I guess then this question is for Emily. How have your experiences in student groups and leadership as a college student helped you on the job?
Yeah, so when I was an undergrad, I was president of Women in Technology, which at one time we had over 90 members. So that definitely prepared me for leading the team that I have now of 100 people. So I think at first when I was told I was going to lead 100 people, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And then I think back to everything that I learned in WIT as a leader, but then also my classes as well. Just staying grounded and staying true to who you are, that helps you become a leader. And that's what the Polytechnic taught me when I was a student.
Wonderful. Glad to hear that all that work in WIT has helped you in your real life as well. So we're getting kind of towards the end of our YouTube live here. So I have a couple of questions. The first one is, and let's see, let's start with Mia on this one, and then Alex. Tell us a little bit about your career goals, and then we can go on from there to each one of you.
Yeah, my career goals in cybersecurity, I hope to work as a network engineer. I think it'd be really fun to, really I could work for any industry, maybe an airline or for healthcare, but just helping like set up and secure their network. And that's about as far as I got for right now. I'm still a
Great.
sophomore, so still thinking on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely still trying to figure it out. My two majors aren't super related, but at the moment, the goal is to join an airline, become a commercial airline pilot, and then I'm hoping I can find a cybersecurity related job that I can work from remotely. So I could do both at the same time, build some experience, and then the ultimate end goal would be to combine those two majors and maybe work on aircraft technology or maybe cybersecurity for the TSA, something like that.
Oh, sounds fun. What about you, Aaliyah?
Yes, like I have a couple different ideas that I'm still trying to narrow it down. But definitely sticking in the manufacturing industry. Both my internships have been in manufacturing, and I realized I really enjoy that environment. And so either doing maybe process engineering, or operations engineering, or something in like the more like automation kind of engineering aspect of things. But definitely staying in the manufacturing industry, whatever that looks like.
Wonderful, for sure. How about you, Milan? You're a graduate, so you're on your way right now.
Yeah. So both of the offers are for virtual design and construction engineers. Um, Honestly just kind of going with the flow. I was where everyone else is right now. I wasn't sure what to do or where I was gonna be, but I've graduated, so I'm gonna go work as a virtual design and construction engineer, and we'll see what happens.
Wonderful. We wish you the very best for sure. Last question for the students, and then I have one last one for Emily. What advice do you have for incoming students to be successful at Purdue and the Polytechnic? And let's start with Alex on this one.
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice, I mean, you probably hear this from any college student you ask, but it's just to get involved, find like-minded people. I think the thing I've learned most from college so far is that there's people out there who want to help you and you should take their help. It's super beneficial and just overall really important to have those connections.
Wonderful. Good advice. Aaliyah, Mia?
Yeah, I'd say one big thing is like wait, I lost all of my words. um, like being a team player and getting used to working in groups and things like that. And getting used to like leaning on other people and having other people lean on you. I've realized that college is honestly the biggest team effort that I've ever been a part of. And so being willing to like lean into that and be a part of that will help you so much, because your students are your community, your peers are your community. And so just like getting involved with that and like surrounding yourself in them will take you a lot further than you think. You can't do college alone. So kind of get used to working and being with other people, because they're there for you.
Wonderful. How about you, Mia?
I would say my biggest advice, definitely like finding your support group. WIT and other resources are great, as well as, just sticking to who you really are and being yourself, and, finding what you truly enjoy.
Thank you. Very good advice. How about you, Milan?
My advice would be to put yourself out there and be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Interesting. That's good. Okay, Emily, what advice do you have, either for the high school students or some of these current Polytechnic students, to be successful in college and afterwards?
I think my biggest opportunity that I learned was just to be open to anything that comes your way. My first internship, I was kind of unsure about joining a team. It was on a customs compliance team, so working with importing. Like, I haven't really learned about that in school yet. That was coming up in my next semester. So I was a little on the fence, but I did it anyways. And that internship experience is what got me the job that I have today. So always trying new things and being open to any opportunity that comes your way. You'll never know if you meet someone sophomore year and you keep their business card. I used it last week. So I met someone that worked in a technology field, and we are exploring new opportunities in technology at Meyer. And I was like, I think I met someone that could help me out. So I called that phone number, and it was still her actual phone number 3 years later. So you never know the people that you meet, how they could help you in the future. So my second piece of advice is always save the business card.
Great advice. Very good advice. I love it. I love it. Well, we've come to the end of our YouTube Live. I want to thank all of you for joining us from home and submitting your questions while viewing this broadcast, as well as our great panelists. It's been so wonderful to see all of you, and for providing the student view of being a female in the Polytechnic. You'll be able to watch this broadcast again by following the same link you clicked on to watch live tonight, or going to the polytechnic.purdue.edu/live, where you will also find all of our previous broadcasts. So if you want to know more, check some of those old broadcasts out, because there's a lot of information in there as well, and some of them by the departments. Please feel free to reach out to us with any additional questions that you have by sending an email to techrecruit@purdue.edu. Our webpage for admitted students is also available to give you some resources and ways to connect. We have request a call. If you prefer, one-on-one, and you want to talk to somebody, just fill out the form, and we would be happy to, at your convenience during your time, to schedule a meeting. We also have Facebook. We have Twitter and Instagram. So please join those groups as well. And so once again, thank you for joining us. Have a great night. We look forward to meeting you and hopefully seeing you in the fall. And with that, boiler up. Thank you. See you, ladies. Love you.